I'm Sophie Von Ahn, teen writer here on YouTube, and today I'm here to talk with you about how I, personally, stay creative with the craziness of life. And these have, probably been circulating around the internet forever, but these are just the things that have helped me, a 16-year-old with too many story ideas for their own good. This one is super basic, super everyone says it ever, but consume the work of other artists, be it more novels or, memoirs or maybe poetry, paintings, music. Just get it out there because you don't know where inspiration will come to you. Like, for me, I got a fantasy idea a few nights ago from an ASMR video that I was watching. Don't know how. It's also just generally a great way to refuel your brain creatively. Gets everything moving again. This one I recently learned, and that is to either get people you can talk to about writing or to get writer friends. First and foremost, it can help you get through story blocks by being able to just vent about your stories and the issues and all that stuff, which was a little bit of why I started this YouTube thing, because for the longest time, no one in my life knew I liked to write and stuff like that. So having this was a way for me to get all the non-writing writing just across to other people, or just off of me and out of my brain. But if you know other writers, ideas can run rampant. They just go everywhere, and it can help your stories just so much, or just create entirely new story ideas as a whole. Like, from the group chats that I'm in myself, I've gotten maybe 3 separate story ideas, which they can also be great motivators. If you have people that are as enthusiastic about your story as you are, it not only has a little bit more of a push to get you to work on it more, but it also just is an incredible feeling to have other people there supporting this thing that you do, which is usually a very solitary activity. Changing locations also gives you a huge boost in serotonin, which just wakes the brain up more and gets you back into the flow, gets you to work. Before COVID, that would mean, maybe going out to the library or to a cafe or to the park or something to work in a different location. But now it's maybe, instead of writing at your desk, it's writing at the kitchen table, or writing on the back porch, or writing in your sibling's room, or something like that, just to wake your brain up, re-stimulate it, and let it get into that flow state without the monotony of just sitting in one place all the time. This one might seem extreme, but romanticizing writer life, because you are a writer. You are capable of making characters fit for movie screens or best-selling novels, and you are cool, and that is so cool. Just don't get too sucked in. It's always good to have good, positive vibes around the hobby, of course. Just don't let it get too much to your head. No one wants to work on something that makes them feel miserable, so those good vibes and the positivity and the romanticization of it can sort of, boost it up. But obviously, sometimes you can't help but feel awful about writing. And that makes sense. And that's what breaks are for. You don't have to write every day or create every day, because that can lead to burnout. The stress of thinking you need to push something out of your brain every day can lead to burnout, which can not only affect your creative life, but every other aspect of which you have to apply yourself to. If you need a break, I like to read or work on something else creative, or just rest. Maybe watch YouTube, scroll Instagram for way too long. Because it's a break, after all. Your brain needs it, your body needs it. It's all around much better to take the break and risk losing out on words that day than keep at this steady flow of near burnout and just not write very good things that entire time. This is also where having multiple projects is great if you can manage multiple projects at once. I know some people like to focus on one, which, respect. But if you still want to write and you're just blocked in one project, you can just switch over and keep going. Keep that momentum going. This one's always fun, but kind of seems like procrastinating, and that is to get to know your story more through Pinterest boards and character sheets and questionnaires. Not only do they, like, technically help your story in the long run, depending on what the questionnaires are asking, but they also immerse you in the world without actually having to write out the story. Because as writers, the last thing we want to do is actually write out the story. One that I've seen is really motivating, though I'm not doing it myself, is to get critique partners. It can really boost you forward to know people are waiting on a new installment of your book, and it can be a huge boost just generally, like even about your craft, to get that feedback right away. So it comes in waves, so it's not crazy overwhelming, and you can implement it right away since you're not done with the story yet. You can still put it in. But that is all of the tips I have. Just for a recap, consume the work of other artists, have people you can talk about writing with, or have writer friends, change locations if you can, romanticize the writer life, but don't let it get to your head too much. Take breaks to avoid burnout, of course. Get to know your story more, and, if you want, get critique partners. But that is it. That's all I have. Those are my tips for how to stay creative. Hopefully they can help someone out, but that's just how I tend to keep the creative ball rolling. If you want to hear more about me specifically, you can find me on YouTube, Sophie Von Ahn. But other than that, peace.